Hey, this is Rob from Art of IM, coming to you from the Philippines. Now behind me you can see the office building that we built over here to house our workers, to house our team, okay? And in this video, I'm going to take you inside, show you some of the tasks they're doing, and explain to you how you can start outsourcing tasks yourself. Now in our case, we took it to the next level and actually built a facility over here for our workers, but in your case, you can easily and very cheaply start delegating responsibilities and outsourcing certain tasks to workers that you'll be paying really a fraction of the price you'd be paying in your own country if you live in the first world. We have workers here in the Philippines. We also have workers in India and Pakistan, and we also have workers in the US for certain tasks. For writing books, for example, we oftentimes will use workers who are native English writers and speakers. But the great thing about the Philippines is that in the schools here, people are taught English. Everyone over here speaks a certain level of English. If you hire a college graduate, they can usually write quite well and speak quite well, which makes them perfect for customer support. They're good for article writing. A lot of them are very good with web design and graphics. There are endless tasks that you can take off your own shoulders and assign to them. Because in order to make the six-figure breakthrough, you've really got to start thinking in terms of delegating responsibilities, okay? Stop wasting your time and energy on the grunt work and the small details. Have it handled by other people so that you can focus your time and energy on the bigger picture, which is growing your business. So all of the 6 and 7 and 8 figure internet marketers we know, they don't spend time doing their own SEO. A lot of them don't write articles. They delegate all of these responsibilities to other people. And a lot of them use outsourcing. They oftentimes use sites like Odesk or elance.com to find workers in the Philippines to handle a lot of that stuff. Now, the reason why this course is unique is that we are actually over here in the Philippines right now, and we deal with Filipinos on a daily basis. If you try to delegate responsibilities to people over here without understanding certain things about the culture and the people here, and and how work gets done, you may wind up getting frustrated and not getting the stuff done, not getting the results that you want. So this video is going to be all about giving you an insider perspective on how to start outsourcing to the Philippines, especially, but really to any country where you can find good, talented workers who will work at extremely reasonable prices. This is one of the keys to making the six-figure breakthrough blueprint. So let's go inside and get started. Okay, so now we're inside the office building. As you can see, there are a lot of seats here on the first floor. There's a second floor as well. And this is the early morning shift, so it's kind of quiet here right now. Later on in the day, it'll be packed with people, packed with activity. But as you can see, these workers are working on a variety of tasks, including SEO, link building, including article writing, including editing and uploading videos to YouTube. And so there's Christine hiding. They're eating lunch in here.
We're eating here.
I'm sorry to disturb you, but there's a little break room here. They love their breaks. And I'll take you over to the IT room real quick, where it's sort of like the nerve center of the whole building. You see there are racks of servers here, powering all these websites. Bunch of monitors. And in this room, there are web developers who are doing a lot of the complicated technical back-end stuff to keep these sites running smoothly and to keep building upon the sites. So there are ways for you to rent seats in a facility like this and to have your own worker or a couple of workers assigned to a desk and working for you. Or you can simply use a site like Odesk to find these workers for you. Here's a little conference room here. And there's my partner, Jackson Lin. So you've had a look inside our office and you've seen some of the Filipinos who work for us, working on various tasks. And now I want to give you some specific instructions on how you can go about starting to hire your own outsourced workers. So let's discuss getting started with outsourcing. I want to suggest that you start by hiring one worker in the Philippines to get started with. And as you begin to see results and grow your income, you can hire additional people. Now, why should they be Filipino as opposed to hiring someone in India or some other overseas country, or perhaps even in your own country? Well, I'll tell you why. Because of the English level, the wages, and the culture and job climate over here. And I am speaking to you from the Philippines. I've been here for a number of years, so I really understand this stuff. Filipinos are taught English in school, as I mentioned earlier, so their level of English is generally quite high, and yet the local wages are quite low. So you can get a skilled, educated worker for not much money. We'll discuss money in more specifics shortly. As far as the culture and local job climate, there are so many. There's a huge surplus of young, college-educated men and women in this country who need jobs. There just aren't enough jobs for the population. And so you will receive a lot of applications from some very qualified candidates when you post an ad on a job site, such as onlinejobs.ph. And that's a site that is specifically for hiring Filipino workers. The PH stands for Philippines, or odesk.com or elance.com. Now, when you post an ad on these sites to recruit workers, be specific about your needs and ask them to submit writing samples. Even if you won't be asking this candidate to write articles, you still need to see that they can write and comprehend English at a decent level. For example, I once put an ad up to find a video editor, someone who could edit the videos that I shoot and upload them and put them online. And he was a very good video editor, really knew his stuff, but his English was very poor. And so it created problems. I would want him to write captions sometimes or subtitles, and he just couldn't do it. And it slowed down the process. If he'd been able to write and speak better English, he would have been perfect. And eventually I had to hire somebody who had some English skills in addition to the video editing skills. So really, no matter what area you're going to have them work on, they need to be able to write and comprehend English. That applies to doing SEO. It applies to really any area of your business. And definitely it applies to customer support if you want to hire a Filipino to handle that. So if you're interested in a candidate and they don't have a writing sample, give them a topic and ask them to write an original 500-word article on that topic. And then check to make sure it is original. To do this, you can use a service called copyscape.com, which allows you to run an article through Copyscape, and then it'll tell you whether it appears anywhere else on the internet. Or the simple method and the free method is just to copy and paste a few sentences of the article into the Google search box and then search it and see if those same sentences appear somewhere else in an article that is already out there. Some job candidates are less than honest, and they will submit, they'll just steal articles from somewhere on the internet and submit them as their own work. You obviously don't want this. Then, set up a time to do a Skype video chat with your candidate or your candidates. This will be the job interview, basically. Now, you want to ask them to chat with you in the location where they will be working from. And this is your way to find out, do they have a reasonable work environment and a stable internet connection? I have done Skype interviews with candidates who live in a tiny little house with many family members. This is very common in the Philippines. And she was a great candidate, but she had little kids running around in the background screaming and yelling. She was sharing the room with other people, and there were roosters crowing outside the front door. It was obviously not an environment that was conducive to getting work done. And then we had to reschedule the interview because her internet service went down. And unfortunately, I just couldn't hire her because obviously her work environment was going to present problems. Now, not all these candidates have their own computers and their own, home office space. Some of them will work from an internet cafe, and that is not unusual in the Philippines. There are internet cafes on every block. And if they have an internet cafe that has strong internet and they have a workspace they can use every day, then that's fine. I don't mind them working from a cafe. And also, very importantly, this Skype chat will allow you to truly gauge their English comprehension skills. Anybody can submit an application over the internet and explain themselves and have somebody help them write a cover letter. all right? But once you're on a live chat with them, there's no getting around that. You'll be able to truly, talk to them and see how well they understand the kind of work you want them to do, and how articulate they can be in responding to your questions. Now, as far as wages, I get asked this question a lot. In the Philippines, a good wage for a full-time virtual employee, and virtual employee is the term we use, for outsourced workers, who is handling your internet marketing needs. And I'm talking about working 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, and they have a college degree, and they speak and write good English. Well, a good starting salary is 15,000 pesos per month, which is the equivalent of around 341 US dollars, depending on the exchange rate currently. Now, you can get away with paying a little bit less. I've started off workers at 12,000 a month, but 15,000 is, I would say right now, sort of the going rate for a qualified candidate with a college degree who speaks and writes good English. I do know of people in the US who have hired Filipinos over here, and they start them off at a much higher salary because they assume that 340 bucks a month is just too low, because obviously in the US you're going to be paid way more than that. But this is not the US. In terms of the local economy, in terms of what professionals get paid, 15,000 a month is a very fair salary. It's a lot more than police officers or school teachers are going to make at a starting level. But you won't start them at 15,000 a month. You want to start them a bit lower and do a trial period. All right. So if the candidate has worked for foreigners before and has a good resume and their own workspace and a stable internet connection, if you can check all those boxes, you want to start them right away at 13,000 pesos per month and tell them it's a 30-day trial period. If it works out, they'll be paid a salary of 15,000 pesos per month from then on. And don't bother with an incentive-based salary structure, commissions, etc. In other words, don't build incentives and bonuses and commissions into their salary right away. It just doesn't really work here. It's part of the Filipino culture. They really kind of live for today. They want to know they're making a certain amount of money per week, and the whole idea of commissions and bonuses don't really motivate them the way they would with a U.S. worker. So you don't really need to go there, and you certainly want to pay them at least 13,000 to start off with. Don't try to get away with paying them less and then base their salary on commissions. That's a big turnoff to them. They don't really understand it. So again, we suggest hiring one worker for now on a full-time basis rather than paying them on a per task basis. So hire one person full-time. This will motivate you to figure out a weekly task list that will keep them busy. In other words, if you decide to only pay them per task, it's very easy for you to just sort of forget about this whole thing and just do the work yourself and not focus on outsourcing. But when you hire one full-time worker and you agree to pay them every week, you're going to find ways to keep them busy, and this is a good thing for you and your business. Now let's talk about tasks to outsource. First off, you can have them handle content creation, which means writing articles, maybe recording videos, writing reports, and recording audios. A six-figure blueprint secret is you always want to think in terms of repurposing. And what I mean by this is, whenever you create a piece of content or a worker creates a piece of content, such as an article, you can use that in different ways. An article can be turned into a PowerPoint video and put on YouTube. So your worker writes the article, then they can record themselves reading the article out loud and then match it to PowerPoint slides. Turn that into a video, upload it to YouTube. Also, an audio interview, for example, you talking to an expert over Skype for your product, that interview can be transcribed by your worker and then turned into a PDF, into a report. You can then use that report as a bonus with your product. You can give it away to your subscribers as a freebie. You can use it as a bribe to get people to join your mailing list, and so on. So always look to repurpose your content and get as much mileage as possible out of it. Now, a good writer can be extremely valuable to your business, and we are always looking for talented writers who will work cheap. You can have one of these writers write your ebooks. They can actually create the ebooks that your products are based on. And our method for this is that we create a table of contents. Here's a little trick. If you go to Amazon.com and you look up books on your topic,
Usually, they will allow you to click on the image of the book and you can see the table of contents. And this can help you formulate your own table of contents. Let's say 12 chapters, and each chapter has a header in the table of contents. You then give this table of contents to your writer, and they will then structure the book according to those headers. They'll know what each chapter is supposed to be about. And this is very helpful to help writers get through the book. Also, a good writer can write content for your site. They can blog for you. They can also write the messages that go into your autoresponder. Now, I must note, we generally do not use Filipinos for this type of advanced writing. Usually we find a young college graduate American to do the ebooks, the autoresponder messages, and the serious blogging. But again, on sites like Odesk and Elance, you can find a lot of talented people who can create a whole ebook for you for several $100s. And when you use the process taught in the Product Mogul course, it's a great investment. I mean, your return on investment is going to be massive if you pay $300 to get a book written, and you're going to then sell this book for many years to come. Also, Filipinos are terrific for customer support. One virtual assistant or virtual employee in the Philippines can handle all of your customer support needs, for now at least. You want to create templates they can use when dealing with refunds, technical issues, or for customers seeking advice. So in other words, in order to save time for your worker and in order to make sure they give your customers the responses they need, you create a set of Microsoft Word documents or text files where you write out the email that they're going to then personalize and send out. So you could have say 10 templates. Template number 1 is in case a customer asks for a refund. And then you would write it out and say, dear blank, we're very sorry to hear that you weren't fully satisfied with our product. We'll be happy to issue you a refund, etc. You can write it however you want. In our case, what we'll often do is in the template, we will offer to give them one of our other products for free if they decide to not go through with the refund. So we save a lot of refunds with that strategy. You want to also have a template in case somebody can't play their video or they can't open their ebook. And then in that template, you can explain, here's a link to download a free video player. And you can send them a link to divx.com, divx.com. Or you can say, in order to read the ebook, you will need to have Adobe Reader installed on your computer. And that's the standard free software to read PDF files. So you could have an email template that contains links to any of the players or readers they will need to view your products. And then you'll have customers who will write in seeking advice. And I get a lot of these for my male dating products for men. Some customers will write into you asking about help with their specific situation. In the beginning, you may want to handle these emails personally. You may want to have your customer support forward you the emails. You can then write them a response. And what I suggest you do is ask them for a testimonial. You say, you know what, I'm gonna answer your question and help you out with this issue. And in exchange, I would really appreciate it if you would write a short testimonial explaining what you got out of my product and areas of my product you liked. And this can be a written testimonial, or even better, if they're willing to do it, have them shoot a short 1-minute video testimonial where it's them on camera talking to the camera saying, hey, it's Mike from wherever, and I found this great product online, and they talk about your product to the camera. These testimonials can be used on your sales pages and in your marketing materials, and they do a tremendous job of building up credibility in the eyes of people checking out your product. Now, in my case, I obviously cannot write back to each individual person. And by the way, some of these people writing in for advice, they're not even customers. They haven't even bought your product, but they go ahead and write you some long email asking you a bunch of questions about solving their problem, and they want free help. So oftentimes in those cases, I'll have a template that my customer support will send to them that will basically say, Rob is extremely busy right now working on a new product, or he's traveling right now on business. We would like to answer your question in one of our upcoming blog posts or in one of our upcoming email newsletters. So please stay tuned, and thank you for writing in. Now, what's great about getting these emails with questions is that it also allows you to get a sense of the questions, the most common questions your customers are having about this area. So when you do a new version of your ebook, or when you decide to do a revision or release an upgraded version, you then know additional topics you can cover in your product that your customers are likely to appreciate. Now here's a 6-figure secret, and this is very important. You should record training videos that you can have your workers watch so that you save yourself time. And I use a piece of software called Camtasia, which is a screen capture software. I can actually record my computer screen and do a tutorial and walk my employees through the process of how to answer a customer service email, or if they're working on SEO, how to build a backlink, or if they are writing an article. I'll record a video that shows them an article, and I'll explain to them how to structure an article. I want it to be 5 paragraphs long. I want it to be at least 500 words. I want the first paragraph to introduce the topic. I want the second paragraph to explain a tip. The final paragraph is the conclusion, and so on. Articles can follow a structure, and this helps your employees to get them done the way you want it done. By recording training videos, you won't need to explain over Skype or over email all of these different steps to everybody that you hire, because turnover might be high. In the Philippines, you're going to find some great workers, but they are the exception, not the rule. You're going to also probably hire people that don't work out, and they might quit or disappear after a week or two. You don't want to have to waste your time retraining every worker individually. So record videos, have an area of your website where you post your videos and send your candidates there to watch the videos and learn. Now, another task you may want to outsource, which I just mentioned, is SEO, search engine optimization. This, of course, is the practice of building backlinks to your website to give it a boost in the Google search engine results for the keywords you want to rank for. Now, SEO is more difficult than it used to be, okay? But you may want to have a worker spend some time each day building backlinks to your site. We recommend using a service called lotusjump.com for this. This is the perfect site to use when you want to have virtual employees do SEO, because it makes it drop dead simple. The way it works is you tell LotusJump the URL of your website, you tell it a few keywords you want to try to rank for, and then LotusJump scans the whole internet and comes up with a list of sites and specific instructions on what to do. Like, go to this site and post a comment on one of these blog articles. Or go to this site and submit an article and put a backlink to your site. It gives you a very specific, endless task list. So this can keep an employee busy forever. Next, you may want to outsource your social media. Social media is very important these days. You can have your worker manage a Facebook profile or a Facebook page that you set up to promote your product or your website. Your worker can post status updates every day on your Facebook page, like with a motivational quote, a tip of the day, a link to a YouTube video, etc. You can give people the sense that your Facebook page is very active and you can build a following, build a community this way without you having to spend any time on it yourself. You can also have your worker send out friend requests to people who share this same interest and then handle the adding of friends and so forth. They can also manage your accounts on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and any other sites you want to have a presence on. These are all ways to build your following and drive traffic to your site. Now, here's another 6-figure secret. Write up a weekly task schedule that shows specifically how you expect your worker to spend their 8 hours per day, including breaks. Normally here in the Philippines, they don't take a 1-hour lunch break. They would rather spread out breaks throughout the day, like a 30-minute break for lunch and then a couple of 15-minute breaks. So for example, you could have them spend 4 hours a day on content creation, and you could break it down by saying, I want you to spend 4 hours per day on content creation. This could be, write 2 blog posts on my site and record 1 short YouTube video, for example. You could then have them do 2 hours on maintaining your social media accounts and 1 hour on customer support, answering emails, processing refunds, and so on. And then there's 1 hour of break time. So with Filipinos, be specific about what you expect them to get done. Don't expect them to figure out how to keep themselves busy. This is when they'll start watching videos on YouTube and playing video games. You want to be specific about what they're getting done each day. So be firm but fair. You will find out within the first 1 to 2 months whether your worker is truly dedicated to their job. Some of them have been spoiled by previous foreign employers who didn't supervise them properly and had an attitude like, well, it's only costing me a few $100 a month. It doesn't matter if they get everything done as long as they just get something done. And this attitude leads to badly trained and lazy employees, and you don't want to inherit any of those. In other cases, you may hire a full-time worker, but they're actually juggling several clients and aren't fully focused on your tasks. And be careful about money requests. Sometimes a worker will ask for a raise almost immediately, which is a bad sign. If they agree to your salary, $13,000 trial period, then $15,000 once they pass the trial period, then you should hold them to that. And also be careful about giving advances. It's common for Filipino workers to ask for advances on their salary due to various family-related emergencies. Yes, real emergencies do come up in the Philippines. There are typhoons, there are all kinds of natural disasters and so forth. But when you have a worker who only began working for you recently and they're already hitting you up for advances, which are basically loans against their upcoming salary payments, it is a red flag. If you are a pushover and start giving out advances, they'll probably keep asking for advances and they'll always be in the hole. And this is when workers will oftentimes quit because they'll get an advance and they'll figure, well, I'm not going to be paid, next pay period, so I might as well stop working and just take my money and go elsewhere. It happens here. So just be firm but fair and don't give advances. At least not until they've been working for you for a while and they've demonstrated loyalty. And even then, really the family emergency stuff, it's best to let them handle it with their own families. If there's some sort of natural disaster or a problem that is keeping them from, paying their internet bill, then handle it on a case-by-case basis. But just be wary of the employees who are making financial requests of you right off the bat. Now, if you wind up with a loyal, dedicated employee who stays with you for a full year, congratulations. These employees are not always easy to come by. Now, you just need to keep in mind that your worker is owed a 13th month of pay. After 12 months of being paid a salary, Philippines law says that you must pay them an additional 1 month of salary along with their next payment. Now, obviously, being that you are not in the Philippines, there is no way for them to enforce this law, but this is a common practice here, and your employee will be looking forward to this payment and will be very disappointed if they don't get it. And you won't need to keep track of the months because your worker will remind you when the 13th month comes due. It's a big deal here in the Philippines. So you want to maximize your ROI, your return on investment, whether you have one outsourced employee or a whole army. So make their task schedule reasonable, but hold them to it. Again, make the first 30 days a probationary period. They start getting paid their full salary once this period is over. As your income grows, hire additional people to take more of the grunt work off your shoulders and scale up your business. Eventually, you can have a team of outsourced workers who are specialists. You can have 1 or 2 people who are dedicated to customer service. You can have a dedicated content writer, a dedicated book writer, a graphic designer, and a webmaster who keeps your sites running smoothly. You won't need to hire a full-time webmaster yet, but you want to try to find someone you can pay a modest monthly fee so they can fix any problems that arise with your sites and deal with technical issues. You can find talented young webmasters who will handle whatever comes up for as little as $250 a month, or maybe even less. Let's say you want to install some new plugin on your website and you can't figure out how to get it to work, or maybe you want to set up a service like Visual Website Optimizer to split test your sales pages. These are all things that may be very time consuming and confusing for you, but a webmaster can bang this stuff out in a few minutes, and by having one on retainer, you won't need to hunt around for somebody to help you every time these problems come up. And also websites get hacked, especially WordPress websites. When this happens, you want a webmaster who can jump right on it because any downtime you have with your websites is costing you traffic and money. So remember, at the end of the day, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. And one of the smartest things you can do as you make the 6-figure breakthrough is to start finding ways to outsource work and to delegate responsibilities. Take the grunt work off of your shoulders and let other people handle it for you. People who actually can do a better job in some cases with this stuff than you can. All right, so let's proceed to the next video.